Hey, what's up, guys? Little man with a big opinion here. So, I'm trying to stay fairly up to date on this, and I haven't seen anything new on it as of the recording of this video. But today's prepping video, we're going to talk about the stay or the moratorium on renting is ending in only a couple of days. I thought I could take a video here. Normally the cats mess with it, but today it's the puppy. So I'm gonna relocate and then we'll finish talking about today's video. Alright, so I've got a couple of news articles for you for this video. They'll be in the description down below, as well as the link to my Teespring store if you'd like to check that out. I'm working on another shirt design, and it may be there by the time this video comes out. It may not, but I at least have the first shirt design there. So over the past year, the federal government has put a moratorium on evictions. Basically meaning if you can't pay your rent, your landowner can't kick you out. And the first article that I read was coming out of Nevada, and it said that it would affect over 9,000 people there. Another article that I heard someone talking about said that it would affect tens of thousands of people in New York, and I didn't read through all of the articles. I got my information. I was watching Timcast while I was doing some food deliveries yesterday, and they estimate it to be in the millions of people that will be affected by it. A couple of people, they were talking about stories that certain landowners or landlords, people that own, between 1 and 5 rental properties. So, your average middle American that's in real estate, most of them don't own, dozens or hundreds of properties, and they're multimillionaires. One of his tenants who hasn't, as soon as the moratorium came out, they lost their job. They were getting federal unemployment, and straight up told him, I'm not paying anything in rent. So come August 1st, be ready to see millions of people affected by this, because if you're any landlord that hasn't received money, or you've been receiving less, maybe you've only been receiving a percentage of which your rent was on a lease, I can almost guarantee you that they have had eviction notices written up for months, and they've just been waiting for them to legally be able to send them out. Most states have a 30-day or 60-day, move-out period, and at the moment, I haven't seen anything from the federal government on if they're going to do anything about this. I don't want to get down into any, conspiracy theories on it, but BlackRock, Black State have been buying up a lot of properties. The mayor of New York has talked about purchasing, properties in the city that, landowners have moved out. They're not worried about that stuff anymore. They're cutting their losses, and you've got the government coming in and buying, hundreds and thousands of buildings and units. And the way it looks like we're going into a time of, an advanced level of, government housing. Something that I've been hearing a lot lately is, the boomers were able to pay for their houses to be built. Matter of fact, I'm sitting in a boomer's house. My great-grandparents, after World War II in the early 50s, They had the house designed and built. The baby boomers were able to put down the 10% and pay off the house in 20 years, right along the time that they retired. The millennials are, the first group of people that were seriously disaffected with the idea of, renting. Why do you want to pay $1,500 a month for a house when you could pay $900 a month or $700 a month even for an apartment? Now it's kind of flipped. The price of a mortgage is less or the same as the price for an apartment, an apartment complex where they want you to make 3 times the value of rent. They want you to pay the first month and the last month up front, along with a security deposit and pet deposits. The big issue, though, is banks really don't want to give out loans. They've made it a lot harder. At one point, you could have a credit score in the 600s and get the same thing. But now you're really needing something in the very high 600s up to the mid 700s to get loans on houses. And then you've got my generation where they've seen what's happened to the millennials, and I think there's a lot bigger push for home buying by my group, at least for the people that I know where I'm at. Most of them own houses, or they only really rent through college or for a very brief time while they save up that core amount of money to go out on their own. I'll look up a statistic and throw it on the screen for how many millennials own versus rent, and then how many Gen Z or Gen Alpha or whatever it is. I think they say they start in like 1996 or something, and I missed it by a couple of years. But the point of the matter is, this is a kind of news video for you preppers out there. It gives a absolute reason for why you should be prepping. During the beginning of the pandemic, my fiance had a savings account. She had a steady job, and they slowly switched to remote, and then they switched to laying off several people. And we got by just fine, but we weren't bringing in the same amount of funds that we were before. And we ate a pretty good amount of food preps that I had put away. We didn't have to worry about, rent or food. At the time, I had, at any given time, I think I had 4 or 5 bags of cat food. I've got several cats. You can see one just hopped up on the piano in the back, and we have a lot of cats. And so I picked up extra cat food, I picked up extra wet food, and almost the entirety of last year, instead of focusing on buying cat food and litter, I went the entire year without purchasing any of that. And kind of sucks now. I've been buying the food by the bag, and I haven't got back into putting away that kind of food. But when you're spending $20 a month on your pets, that was $20 that we didn't have to worry about. Because as a prepper, I knew what supplies I needed, and I put that stuff away. I didn't buy toilet paper at all. I didn't buy toilet paper that I needed. In the beginning of 2020, between, I say, January and March, I would buy, the allotted amount that they said I could get, my one bag or one package. Sorry about that. Dogs knocked something down in the living room. It was a loud bang. Luckily, nothing's broken though. So, as a prepper, the food supplies you're putting away, if you're just started getting into prepping, or you've kind of lost your reasoning for why you're prepping, just know, it's not all the way to the mass extreme of, a zombie apocalypse is going to happen and you're never going to be able to get supplies again, or, we're gonna have a 2012 style movie where 75% of the earth floods, or those big Hollywood style action movies for giving extreme reasons for why the world's ending. It can be as simple as a pandemic. One of the other statistics that I watched last night or heard about was if you're making the exact same amount of money as you were in January, the value of your dollar has gone down 1.6%. So just simple economics, your $100 is now only worth, $98.40. So you can't buy as many groceries as you were before. You can't buy as much cat food. The hours that you work are not equaling the same amount of pay. Dollar-wise it is, but the price of goods have gone up drastically. I talked about that in another video where the highest thing I'd seen gone up was gas, and the last number I had was 56%. And that does drive up most of the other costs, but we do have record drought, serious crop failure, flooding, in the Midwest where a lot of the corn and soybeans and stuff come from. So the federal, moratorium, I haven't seen any more news on it. Whether they're going to extend it, whether they're going to give out some sort of, funding to help these people do back pay, I just don't know. But combine that with the inflation that we're seeing, and combine that with the record number of people that still aren't working, even as jobs are opening back up. I've been doing food delivery on the side, and I went to Red Lobster yesterday and I had to wait for 45 minutes to get the food. And the people in the kitchen and stuff, you can hear them complaining. They need 2 more cooks to the 2 that they already have. They're down like 3 servers, and on every entrance they've got written, now hiring. I don't think I've seen a single business that I've gone into that doesn't have a now hiring sign up. So all of these different things, individually they can be, stressful on their own level. Let's say they're at a 5 or 10% stress level. When you combine 4 or 5 things, it can become a very overwhelming situation. So that's why I prep. That's why I've started putting out these, news-like prepping videos, because I want you to know the things that worry me, why I continue to prep, and hopefully this channel is an avenue for, you guys to get, additional news that you might not be hearing on your mainstream, or you might not be hearing through podcasts or other prepping channels that you watch. And like I said, I'll do 1 to 2 of these a week as more stuff comes out. Like I'm planning a video on Dubai doing the cloud seeding, updates on the wildfire stuff, drought, maybe a agricultural update. But this video is mostly about your dollar shrinking and millions of people, being in the crosshairs in the next 2 to 3 days. They could extend the moratorium. They could provide some sort of payout. We don't know, and I'll do a short update video if something new comes out, and I'll put it in the link down below for this video. But if you found this information useful yourself or is informative, like the video and subscribe to the channel. If you have a friend or family member that you think would benefit from the information that I talked about in this video, then share the video with them, or just share it in general. Throw it up on your Facebook or your Instagram. Spread the word. I think I do mediocrely average good work. I'd say my videos are a solid 6 out of 10. But other than that, I'll catch you in the next one, and peace.